So heading into draft number 2 again to both of you, do we see any real adjustments? Obviously, VBO, they had something that didn't work. We can already kind of mastermind their adjustments, but how do you think Glaive are coming into this, gameplay wise?
I think Glaive most likely have every draft situation probably planned out to this point. If I was VBO coming in, losing game one, I would consider taking away just almost everything that Glaive played. Like, I think definitely the Lilia too. It's just been a great blind pick for Baby Powder. Tons of early tempo, tons of just like utility, and it's an AP damage jungler so that their mid laner can pick AD. I think the Lilia is something they should look at, and that bot lane maybe isn't too much of a priority. It seems like Vark can just play weak side and do perfectly fine. And they were saying on cast that his damage was almost as high as the Tristana.
Yeah, absolutely nutty game one performance. I do want to thank you again, Mitch, for joining us here on the analyst desk. We're going to hop right into the draft phase for game number 2 here between Glaive Amethyst and Vlad Banners Only. Once again, reminding everybody at home, Vlad Banners Only have transitioned over to the blue side now. And look at the ban phase so far, Juicebox. They're actually banning away the Jinx pick.
Yeah, Vark is a very accomplished AD carries on multiple different ADCs. Jinx is definitely one of those. Caitlyn also going to be knocked out of the AD carry champion pool. And a Tristana as well. Now, while you would expect that Tristana to go to the mid lane, it can still definitely be put in the bot lane if you have an especially large amount of confidence. But what I'm actually really interested in is the Yone ban that VBO is taking out. They do not want POS on another hard carry mid laner if they can help it. And to double down on that, they're actually, I would guess, putting profit on the Seraphine. So basically they're saying, all right, you just don't get a laning phase. We're both going to farm up, and we'll see you in the team fight at 20 minutes.
That is a very good assumption. I was going to point out that if it is flexed to the bottom pick, Rel was actually given over to Glaive. This pick has taken professional play by storm. We're seeing it LCS, LEC, LPL playoffs, LCK playoffs. Like, everywhere has latched on to the Magnetic Horseman and is just dominating. It is such a good pick. It drives so much pressure in the mid game, and it really can turn a lot of team fights on their head, even skirmishes. Like, it's so easy to get something going here with Rel at a snap of a finger. And so the answer so far from VBO is going to be the Elise. Now, that is a jungle pick. That is a Jimmy pick. I know way early on we saw it in the top lane. I believe it was Dusk that picked it up.
I think it was,
It was that AP Elise top. God forbid, but I don't see them breaking that out in grand finals. I just don't see it.
I was actually wondering that too when they locked that in. But I do agree. I think that should definitely be in the jungle. It definitely kind of suits what Jimmy likes to play in the jungle. Hecarim was still available, so I'm still surprised to see him ignoring the Hecarim. It might be a pride thing, or he might just not want to play it into the Lilia, which I can respect. I don't know. But in any case, look at the wombo. Look at the wombo Glaive is starting to put together between the Magnetic Storm and Sleepy Time from Lilia. And hey, you Magnet Storm them all together, you pull Rel out, and you chuck her right back in. I mean, you got just such a strong team fight presence already coming out for Glaive Esports. And VBO, we're still going to have to see what the second half of their draft is to know exactly what they're aiming for.
Yeah, I mean, the second half of the draft phase is really when things went wrong for for Vlad Banners in the first one. So very peculiar to see them go so far. And the Elise pick is still it's not jiving with me because, it seems to be the game plan from Vlad Banners is that they want to get an early game jungler to contest the Lilia. And, Hecarim, again, for as much as we talk about the pick, it just doesn't, in my opinion, have an early game, right? You need to get that first mythic in, whether it's Chem Tank or Divine Sunderer, and that's when you, really come online. Whereas the Lilia can, come online from level 1, double Raptor you, and then really just take control of the game state from that point forward. And so the Vlad Banners only are afraid of that. They think they have an answer to the Lilia. Graves didn't work whatsoever. Get that garbage out of here. They're falling back to the Spider Queen, really hoping that this can be the change up. They're going to ban away the Kled, leaving the Camille open. Glaive 100% going to blind pick that for Clonk.
Yeah, it's Klonk, right? It's probably the best top laner, and you could make a very weak argument to say Dusk might be better. I know that I've had some disagreements behind the scenes about that point, but yeah, of course Klonk is going to grab the Camille and feel really good about it. Like, he is such a high skill cap mechanical player, so put him on the most tilting top laner to play against in the game. VBO going to grab Galio for themselves this time around. And I have no idea where Seraphine or Galio are going for VBO.
Yeah, this is just a really schming-spangle draft. Like, I don't really have words for what I'm seeing here from Vlad Banners, only because, this is not the same as what we've seen them drafting in any of their playoff matches. This is something that they're not even their most played champs. Like, Jimmy has a ton of Nidalee games, and while I think the pick is dog water, it's a pick that obviously, pro players like, and we see a lot of it, whether it's Night Harvester or the Moonstone. But it's just, what do you do here? You're picking an AP jungler that doesn't support the team, that is very selfish to a certain degree, because once you get into a lane, blow your cocoon, and if you don't hit it, you're not really bringing a whole lot to the table outside of just bursty damage. So Elise, I don't think the meta's for her. I don't think the patch that we're on has really transitioned in, and production is going to inform us that Irelia pick is actually a Renekton juice box. So I heard you get hype, but I'm here to kill that hype.
I really did. I was so excited. Irelia into Camille is one of the most explosive matchups you can get. Renekton into Camille. It's
pre-resident sleeper.
I mean, it still can be exciting, but it's just pretty obvious what both those champions are going to be aiming to do in the lane. What I do want to talk about, though, is POS getting his hands on the Zoe. Prophet had nothing but good things to say about POS's Zoe, and the fact that it got through both phases of the bans and is the last pick for Glaive Esports, the last pick of the draft. I think that VBO may have let one slip through the cracks here. You see 2 top lane bans. You see the mid, the ADC, and the support. But you left out one of the most powerful control mages in the game. And hey, Elise, yeah, there's a good amount of burst there. But Zoe's the burst queen. Her paddle stars will chunk everybody on this roster. Maybe to death. I mean, this Zoe gets ahead. She's just one-shotting people.
Yeah, and it's not even just up to damage either, if you think about it. Like, if you think about just the overall zone control and amount of crowd control that Zoe can bring to the table with the Sleepy Trouble bubbles, it really poses a big question mark, because you combo that with a Rel. As soon as vision control goes over to Glaive, it is never leaving. Right? Yep. Those 2 pair up. You don't need to worry about Kalista in the bottom lane, because she's going to drain tank through everything unless she just gets one shot by Seraphine Kaisa somehow. And Rel Zoe just take full control of River. They take full control of any objective you're trying to approach. Pixel Bush is a no-go whatsoever, because once again, there's no big true tank on the side of Vlad Banners only. They don't have a Udyr. They don't have a Scion. They just have to make do with a Renekton and a Galio. And, whatever else in. But, I mean, those aren't your frontliners. Like, those aren't the people phase checking bushes to clear wards. That's the Elise and the Seraphine. Very squishy, very easy to kill. And yes, Elise has the repel, but it's not ideal. It's not amazing. It's basically just the Zonias in a lot of scenarios. And you can very easily work your damage profile around that.
Yeah, you absolutely can. I think VBO have a really hard task ahead of them. And I honestly feel like Glaive Esports, in a lot of ways, is, at least through one game so far, and maybe through the split, just the better team. So VBO need to find creative ways to beat them. Taking a mediocre draft into Glaive, I just really am concerned for how they're going to be able to play this one out in an effective manner, especially after getting stomped in 26 minutes after the last game.
Yeah, and I honestly think this game is actually going to be a lot more of the same as game 1. I just don't see any winning lane here for Vlad Banners. I mean, Renekton, whether he wins early, doesn't matter. Camille's going to split push late and team fight the heck out of you. Kalista is so good right now, being able to pick up a lot of that lifesteal support build that she could really work well with. It's pretty much the same story with Kalista. If she's good, she's really good, and you're going to see her a lot. Combo that with a Rel, and it's in my opinion, almost better than the old Alistar pick because it's on-demand engage. You don't have to worry about a combo that potentially you could mess up that eats up, multiple of your abilities. And even if you miss the first portion of the Rel engage, you can still follow that up with the Magna Storm and the E. So just really good stuff there. Lilia just beats Elise. Like, Elise doesn't do anything, and I will be happy to be wrong. We've said this before.
Yeah,
when the Elise pick comes out, like, we're totally willing to be wrong here, except we're not. It's just full stop. Juicebox, do you think Elise is a good champion?
In silver, I think she can really pop off. I think she brings a lot to the table. In anything above about gold 4, I think Elise
as
really
a player.
I'm a plat 3 player. Anything above gold 4, Elise just is, I don't know. She requires a weird amount of help, but look at the amount of selfish champions you have on VBO. You have 3. You have 3 that are really going to be trying to take as much CS, as much, economy as they possibly can. And Glaive Esports, they have some selfish champions too, but so many of them are they're really just reliant on their ultimates. Like Camille, yes, you need to get a lot of money on her, but you get that isolation. I don't care how much money she has. Her Q is still going to chunk you for half your health bar.
Yeah. Now, Juicebox, this is definitely why we have you here on the analyst desk as the Plat 3 player, and why we have Gold 1 Necrox there on the casting desk. So speaking of Necrox, he will be joining us in just a couple minutes as we are going to take a quick break. He, along with DJ, will be bringing you all of the action once the Rift loads up. And once again, this is game 2 between Vlad Banners Only and Glaive Amethyst. Glaive currently leading a 1-0 scoreline after an extremely dominant 26-minute victory here in game 1. You see the draft on your screen. We've talked about him. Chat seems to disagree with our expert analysis, Juicebox, so we will just have to wait and see who comes out correct at the end of this game. So stay tuned, folks, and we're going to be right back with all of the action.
I'm top 6% of the player base.
I've been painting every fence I know, every color pleasing to the same. 'Cause before you go and walk away, yeah, you better know where you're going. You're a wanderer just like me. Yeah, you better know where you're going. I've been painting every fence I know, every color pleasing to the same. 'Cause before you go and walk away, yeah, you better know where you're going. You're a wanderer just like me. Yeah, you better know where you're going.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Summoner's Rift. I am Necrox, joined by the DJ, the one and only himself, to bring you Game 2 between VBO, the reigning kings, but may not be for long, as Glaive Amethyst in a swift game number 1 look hot in the series, and they have drafted themselves a wonderful composition to really put the pressure on VBO.
Yeah, I gotta say, Necrox, I love watching these two teams play. They draft so well. You can see all of the ideas coming through. You can see all of the counter picks, all of the counter thoughts, all of the setup. It's just brilliant to watch how they think, and it is quite an adjustment in game number 2 for the likes of VBO. The one thing that will be the same, we are going to be seeing a top focus here. The Renekton Elise combo is, a tale as old as time, a song as old as rhyme, beauty if you're into spiders, and the beast in top lane there. Again, we've seen it kind of go back and forth in chat. Elise maybe not quite as dynamic as a champion as Nidalee. I sort of agree with that. However, Jimmy is a Nidalee player, so I will give him the benefit of the doubt in thinking that maybe the extra CC on Elise is what they want here in this draft. But keep your eyes on him and Dust, because they are looking to just pile it onto Clonk, who did get away with murder in game number 1, once again on that Kled. But, it's POS 2 on the Zoe. We saw what he could do on the Tristana Necrox, and now he is on a comfort pick that's also a takeaway from Prophet. Like, this could just be another big POS angle in this game.
Yeah, and in the interview with Starling that I had the pleasure to conduct, he was telling me that both of these players, like the Zoe in game 1, it was banned away in the first phase. That's not something you often see with champions that are so, let's say, player specific. It's not a broken champion like Seraphine that it feels like you have to permanently ban as well, and that will be graced with playing that one. And on that same top note, DJ, I did want to mention that Clonk could have gone for the Ignite TP, but he knows with this Elise pick, you have to have Flash. If you don't flash the Cocoon, the Renekton stun follows, or vice versa, and then the damage just piles on. So we'll be having that little bit of extra mobility as you can see the bot lane going well here for Vark and Trivia as they get pushing. It feels like I'm going back and forth between these lanes talking about how everyone has an advantage for Glaive, and it truly does feel that way as Clonk's gonna face check into this Elise. There's still Flash, but he has it no more.
Yeah, and it is going to be forced to flash, but that's why you take it. Be little good girls and boys at home, kids. Take flash. Don't be like Uncle Hooney. It gets you punished by good junglers like Jimmy and Blabber. The TP already going to come back out for Clonk as he will head back in this lane that, again, should be very VBO favored with the Renekton early on in Dustodon's hands. And, of course, Jimmy on his Elise. He has played this several times before this season. He knows how to operate the champ. But, we've been so focused on this top lane because it is a huge win condition for VBO. We have been, we have not been able to mention Vark picking up this Kalista. And hold on, we don't get to mention anything.
Clonk sitting under a shirt, maybe the dive to come through. There's the Cocoon. The stun is perfect. Can he get away as well? The rappel was so beautifully timed, and that is why you pick the Elise. Jimmy puts on the masterclass in your face, Glaive Amethyst. They don't want no Nidalee. They're playing the Spider Queen. First blood to VBO.
Yeah, great stuff from Jimmy again. I mean, if you're going to pick Elise or Necton, you better make it pay off. And he is sacrificing jungle camps for sure. Baby Powder will be getting nice and farmed up, but this is your win condition. This is how you play these two champions out. Prophet.
That's
Jimmy's
a little
around.
bit Prophet's gonna face check the taunt. Will connect. Jimmy flash Cocoon, and are you kidding me? That second flash and maybe a second kill. One auto. There it is. The neurotoxin to collect it will finally be killed. But Jimmy is making this Elise work. Analysts as casters, color cast. Anyone who had doubts be damned. Jimmy 2-1-0 on this Elise has shown up in the early game.
Yeah, he is showing up big time here in the early game, and he does die for that second kill. He gives it over to POS, which might feel great if you are Prophet after game number 1, but it is a Galio in Prophet's hands. He is obviously looking to support his lanes with this pick in the mid lane, so maybe won't feel too bad about it. Maybe we'll just feel bad about it if we see POS one-shotting someone later down the line, but for now, it is VBO getting out to this early tempo. They are still even on gold due to the big CS lead in the jungle and in the bottom lane, which again, we have not quite been able to get to just yet. We'll get there soon. But it is Jimmy making all of these tempo plays, getting his top laner ahead, getting the win condition ahead, setting up this Renekton and Dusk to Dawn, the man who so often is the secret part of the formula that leads VBO to victory. Now hanging around mid lane. It's 4-6, but maybe he can set something up with Prophet.
And we only get to talk about Vark when Jimmy wants us to talk about Vark, and we might have a little bit of time here. The Kalista has been rising in priority across Summoner's Rift and across all sorts of amateur scenes, even professionally. She has been played, and Vark gonna pilot that one in this game. It is a similar champion to Zoe and Elise, in the sense that if you are good, you are extremely useful come team fight time, and you can see the CS lead that Vark and Trevia have start to build down here has really begun. Double CS here now for this Kalista, but they're going again in topside. Here comes Prophet. It's just early on this Galio ulti, the stun into taunt, into cocoon, and that is number 2. Klonk cannot survive under his turret.
I mean, again, it's beautiful stuff. VBO playing to their win conditions perfectly. They have bounced back from that game 1 drubbing so very well, setting up Dusk to Dawn and just making Klonk's life absolutely miserable. I mean, you can take Flash all you want. I don't even know what pick you could take to escape this. It's just up to your team to be trading on the other side of the map, which we do see Baby Powder do. Picks up that first Drake, but man, oh man, the execution underneath the turret in top lane has just been pristine here from VBO in the early game, and they will continue to look for the weak link in that Glaive composition. You know, whether or not Klonk is actually, oh my god.
Cleanse out of PS2 immediately. There's the Drowsy Justice Punch like a hero. Comes in Prophet to soak up that damage. Gets a nice trade in the back end as well onto POS2. But for now, DJ, it is 2 sides of Summoner's Rift. It's the 2 tails. It is Dusk to Dawn and Jimmy partnering up against Klonk to make this top side living hell for the Camille. And just in the straight up 2v2, Vark and Trivia Boy are really starting to put the hurt on Walnut and Stingus in this bot side with the Kalista. You can see the Hail of Blades being used to the greatest effect possible. The hop with the Martial Poise, the Pierce, the Ren, it all begins to add up as Stingus and Walnut desperately hoping for scaling to come around this game.
Yeah, and I love it when an AD carry can pull out Kalista. So happy to see Vark pull this because it just punishes bad laners so hard. Bad laning champions, rough lanes. I mean, this is so good, particularly into Kai'Sa. It has been the counter pick into the early prio on Kai'Sa. Just dominates it in the laning phase, and you can see how that works here. Vark is so far ahead on CS alone, and that has been compounded by the fact that when Jimmy spends all of his time topside, you can't walk anywhere. You can't step up to anything as Stingus and Walnut because the enemy jungler could be around to back up what is already a heavily winning lane here for Vark and Trivia Boy. So they will continue to flex their muscles, continue to get Vark farmed up, and he could very well be the win condition and prove all of the doubters throughout this season wrong.
We won't talk about the cannon though. Vark a little unlucky not to be able to collect that one up, but no problem. Still going to maintain a sizable lead here on the Kalista. Just so much priority in this lane, and countered by 2 things. 1, easy to land crowd control, and a nice long range. Kai'Sa has neither of those. Neither does Seraphine, at least pre-6. The Encore really being the easiest tool to hit. The beat drop not reliable enough to land onto the moving, hopping around Kalista. And Vark, because of it, knows he is able to freely dominate this lane basically by himself. Baby Powder, meanwhile, in the jungle, because of all the ganking that Jimmy has been doing, has built up a nice camp advantage over the Spider Queen.
Yep, it is those 2 lanes. Again, when you trade so heavily on the top side, when you focus everything you've got into Dusk to Dawn, you're gonna be losing out somewhere else. Baby Powder has taken his fair share of Jimmy's camps. He's very far ahead. It is a 30 CS differential. That's 6 full camps there. I can't do math. That's 4 EXP, so it's nearly not. Or it's 8.5. No, wow, I can't do math, Necrox. Help me out, save me.
It's something close to it. I'm not a math numbers guy either. Maybe we'll get the analyst test to figure it out because it's kind of complicated. But what I do know And what I can calculate is, see that number in the top left of your screen? That is 130. 90 seconds on the dragon until that one is spawned up. Prophet may be looking for something in mid, will not be able to collect that play with Jimmy. And with the first dragon in all the chaos going the way of Glaive Esports, Amethyst, because of the way their bot lane has been dominating the bot side, should be 2-0 dragons to them, unless they want to bring the big crocodile down in order to make that play. PS2 is actually going to take a couple tower shots. It doesn't have any mana as well. Absolutely right. Will be fine for now. Sting is trying to collect this wave. No problem. We'll be able to do so. And this is where the game really begins to open up. We've gotten past the Elise early game dive stage. Now we're into the 3v3, 4v4 style action.
Yeah, we are. The map is fairly spread out. Jimmy's actually taking a second to breathe here and actually pick up some jungle camps. What a concept there, as he does take over to the 61 mark. We do look at the goal. Despite all of the wins in top lane, it is still favored for the likes of Glaive Amethyst. Just 300 gold, though. Not very much. So this game balanced very, very finely as that Drake is about to spawn. To look around the itemization, nobody yet with the mythic item in their inventory. So this could be a very scrappy fight around the Drake if VBO want to take it. Jimmy's right in top side right now. He's trying to recall, but might be a little slow.
Yeah, certainly going to be late to the party and didn't get the memo that this dragon was spawning as early as it is. Actually is headed down bot side, but this one could just be gone if they all do commit to it. But for now, it's just baby powder on the dragon. So Jimmy on a foot race now to be able to get to that one in time.
Yeah, Jimmy's foot racing. I'm not sure if he's going to go for Drake. Maybe he just wants to try and make him play bot. But now with the bot lane collapsing onto the Drake, the full attention will be here. Oh, they're going for it. TP's coming in.
TP is indeed coming in. Dust to Dawn looking to make the play, but Walnut is one shot before the Encore can even get away. There's Zombies from POS2 trying to keep himself alive. The taunt's going to find 3 members. There's a nice engage from Trivia Boy trying to flash himself away to safety. Here comes Clog. He's found one. He's got the 80 carry. Singus is immediately deleted. BBO going to be wiped off. Summoner's Rift and Glaive find the fight for make it 5-0. An unofficial ace out of nowhere. That was lightning fast from your #1 seed.
Yeah, the 5-for-1 coming in from Glaive, and they just find a way to win the team fight. The setup honestly didn't look too bad from VBO, but it was POS again making the critical play. He just one-shots Walnut before the fight, so the Seraphine ulti doesn't even register. He's trying to bounce that one off of Dusk to Dawn, who's going into the backline. Ever even comes through. The CC chain is not able to start, and so the back end of the chain is late. They can't lock up the enemy carries. They cannot kill Vark or POS2 fast enough, and they end up getting collapsed upon, burned down by the rest of Glaive Amethyst, who now have blown it out to a nearly 2.5K gold lead, trying to fight back in top, but it looks like Clock will just back away.
Will be fine for now. Has the flash if necessary, but it's Baby Powder that's face checking into Jimmy. Flashing. Where was that one, Jimmy? Certainly not in the right direction. Going up, but what goes up must come down. Goodbye. Jimmy blunders his flash and loses his life for it. The pressure, it's so immense, DJ, and you can tell in the gameplay, VBO simply are not up to the task right now.
Yeah, you know, it was such a good start. I thought maybe the nerves were gone. Maybe the first game struggles were gone, but just an uncharacteristic error coming in from Jimmy as he tries to flash the Baron wall. He knew that the rest of Glaive was coming, but he could not get away, and the Spider does get squished underneath the oppressive power of Glaive Amethyst. I mean, look at Baby Powder here, completing the Leandri's Anguish, 50 CS up on his enemy jungler. There are 3 mythic items already in the inventory for Glaive, and because of where the resources have gone, it is literally just Dusk to Dawn that is accelerated, the only one with the mythic here for VBO, as they find themselves down 4K gold at 15 minutes.
And the topside pressure that we saw in the beginning of the game just doesn't seem to be working. It's not mounting to enough. Prophet trying to make the play. There's your flash encore. They found Vark. The shield bow cannot get him to safety, and Trivia Boy will call the exit. as Vark is one shot with a nice double flash play. Cannot stand up to the challenge. Prophet, Walnut, and Singis all hanging around. Jimmy's in the bush. A face check, but a nice immediate cleanse. It's like Captain Jack North 3 with a taunt onto everyone. Stingus has arrived in the fight. The Elise has gone up in the air. Trivia Boy's gonna drop as well down to hell as Prophet will lose his life in the process. Glaive lose too. VBO fight back.
That is a huge fight back from VBO. The initial play is beautiful, but they say that's not enough. They set up a secondary trap. I think Glaive thought they would be trying to get back to mid lane to pick up the pushing wave as quickly as possible, but no. Jimmy doing little spider sneaky things like he does have to on this champion, sets up a trap, and Dust to Dawn go for the solo kill.
Dust to Dawn pops the Dominus, looking under the turret at Clonk Gronk Zonk, who had no flash. Saying, fight me, bro. Let's duke it out. Man on man, mano a mano. There it is. The flash stun into the Ko of the Meek. Well done, Dust to Dawn. A solo kill in the top lane.
VBO are fighting back. They are not going to go down with a whimper. They are going to go down, if at all, with a bang here, Necrox. They will not let Glaive take this for free. Just like that, it's an 8-8 kill score after they get a nice play in bottom lane through Prophet's teleport. The lovely trap from Jimmy for the beautiful 3-man taunt from Prophet. And now the solo kill in top lane. This is a full fight back all the way across the map, and the gold lead closing down here. Now just about 1.5K gold. Can VBO continue the momentum as Glaive look to dive bot?
Even on dragons, even in kills, and roughly even in gold for now. VBO are in a much better spot than they were in the previous game. Singis is hit with everything in the kitchen sink, trying to stay alive, but it's baby powder gone bowling, and call it a strike. Double kill onto this Lilia. In come Prophet with the ulti, but he's demised. He's only gonna arrive to his own death. Bark rips out the arrows from the back. A kill onto Stingus. Onto Stingus and Prophet and Jimmy as they all drop in the fight. It is 3-4-0 in Glaive Amethyst. VBO are trying to find something, but they come up empty-handed, as now it's their turn to defend their bot turret. But it might not be for long. It's a sleepy crocodile, and it's a dead Dust to Dawn.
Wait.
A lot of lifesteal. What in the hell was that? Dust to Dawn somehow trades it 1-for-1.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. I think I caster cursed him here, Necrox, because right after I'm complimenting the fight back, they just get demolished by Glaive Amethyst. And once again, it's POS2's gonna have to run here.
Stingus arriving. Yeah. That's a kill. That's a nice Void Seeker into Killer Instinct combo, and Stingus picks up a free one there onto POS2.
Yeah, POS maybe just trying to style a little bit, hanging around too long, and maybe admiring all of the corpses he left down in bottom lane, but he does pay for it with his life. Again, this man has been so clinical in this game too for Glaive Amethyst, despite that mistake, as we do get a pause here from Clonk. Let's see what the issue is there. Oh, nope, just a... Well, yeah, we're just right back in. Okay, not sure what that was all about, but POS has just been landing so many bubbles. You saw in that fight, he landed one on Stingus, and Walnut was sort of in two minds as to what to do. He wants to block for his AD carry, but he's thinking, I'm just going to get one pop too, because POS has been so strong. He ends up kind of getting out of the way. His AD carry falls to the Lilia E, and then Havoc just breaks loose, and that is what POS has been providing on this Zoe. It has been Havoc 4-2-7, getting close to the second item completion and just being a nuisance with all of these bubbles. VBO going to need to find another big momentum play to turn over that big loss they just had in bottom side.
Trying to find something to even the score line here. They are down by 2 in kills and down about 4,000 in terms of gold. A big deficit to overcome, sure, but VBO, the reigning kings of heavy, have stared down challenges like this one before. Lotus from last split, even semis in this one, and have faced bigger obstacles in their history, but this is when it counts the most. VBO need to stand tall now, need to come together as a team, get this series and get this game back under control before things can spiral out of hand.
Yeah, it's already 4K gold. And again, VBO have picked a very early game composition, but they're trying to make it count here.
Trivia Boy, nowhere to run, uses the Magnet Storm to survive a little bit longer, but the Encore from Walnut is good enough to secure 1 for VBO. Does not amount to very much, but a little bit more gold in their pockets should feel nice.
Dude, okay, hold on here. We'll see if Clonk can get away. He's actually going to go back in. Baby Powder's here.
Clonk going in. There's the Hextech Ultimatum. The baby cage is indeed induced, and Dust to Dawn slicing, dicing, getting his way through. There's a lilting lullaby. Prophet getting his way out of the turret for now with the Justice Punch and Tenacity. Will wake him up awfully soon. Dust burning. He's killed. Now Prophet's at a 1v3. Clonk's going forward, flashing, trying to get the slow. Cannot find it for now. Trying to hop away, but Clonk not able to pick it up. His POS2 to arrive to get that one. A bullet over the wall is going to find Walnut, and he is deleted with a nice paddle star to the face as Walnut will drop. There's no counterplay, and there was no vision. Sting is having a flash away from the hook shot wall dive as well. The slow is there. Try to turn this one around. Going back in, but it's only into the waiting arms of Glaive Amethyst Esports. They were ready for this play. They have found 4, and Jimmy now has to be a miracle worker to steal this Baron away.
Yeah, can he do it? It's already going down, but you have to contend with the Callista Ren Smite combination. It's so difficult to try to win an objective fight against this. They're instead going to turn for the fight here as Dust to Dawn TP's in, but they do chase Jimmy off and they get him!
POS2, faker indeed, Starling. He will not be stopped. Into the pit goes Dust to Dawn, trying to steal it away, but no, it's smited away by Baby Powder, a good secure. They lose their top laner. Clonk is traded back. Prophet coming in, trying to be a hero, but he will not. In just over 22 minutes, Glaive will take a Baron and make the Fiesta worse. Baby Powder is godlike on this Lilia. VBO frantic to get something done, but instead they lose it all.
And look at who it is once again, Necrox, making the difference for Glaive Amethyst. It is POS and Baby Powder dominating in this game. The whole early game, it's been POS, a full nuisance on this Zoe, but this time the play starts with Baby Powder, who comes up to help out Clonk Sonk and just really outplays Dust to Dawn and Prophet, getting the sleep down, getting the damage down, putting in the stasis at the right time, allowing his team to show up and clean up the rest of VBO, and then it's just desperation for VBO. They know they've drafted a very early game composition based around deleting Clonk from the game, trying to get Dust to Dawn ahead. They know that Baron is nearly a death sentence for them. They throw everything in the kitchen sink at Glaive Amethyst, and it is not enough. They're picked off one by one by POS2 and the rest of his buddies, and now they face an absolutely monumental deficit to try to come back. The gold, nearly 9K, but the composition difference is going to make it feel more like 15.
POS2 throwing paddle star after paddle star after paddle star, making this siege feel like a 6v5, and Clonk, sure he's behind, but it's a Camille who will always feel comfortable in a side lane. They land one Cocoon. That's going to be an immediate deletion, but PS2 somehow staying alive for now with the portal jump. Now it's going to be deleted. Asleep. Is this AD carry is going to be taken down? Sing is going to drop in the fight. Prophet's already gone. Dust to Dawn getting himself in trouble. And this is 4-0. Walnut trying to run away, but a flip over the shoulder, and see ya later. An ace for Glaive Esports. They take their time but don't need much. VBO wiped off Summoner's Rift, and now it's time for the base.
Yeah, I think this could just be game. There's still 15 seconds on the enemy composition. Everyone in the death chamber, and they have baroned up minions. Can they just end this one?
Sting is alive in 6 seconds, but Clonk going forward. Nexus turret number 1 going to drop. Nexus turret number 2 under fire. The Nexus soon to be exposed. Prophet, Stingus, and Jimmy all up, but that freeze on your screen means it is game over, and GEA take it to match point.
Yeah, that is gonna do it. Game number 2 gonna go over to Glaive Amethyst. It was not enough for VBO. They did not respawn in time. And despite some positive plays in the early game, despite the change in draft priority here, they cannot find a different result. It's once again a 21-minute gold explosion for Glaive and a 24.5-minute victory. They move themselves to match, series, and championship point here in Heavy League.
And Glaive Amethyst look at the previous kings and say, this is your crown, no more. 2-0 in this series. Both games, there was no doubt about it. They are the better team. Now, it is all on VBO to turn this thing around and force what is a miracle reverse sweep in a best of 5. To explain how exactly that could come about, we're going to send it to our analyst desk to bring us a little bit more insight.
I'm muted once again. Thank you back, everybody. Like I was saying, welcome back to the analyst desk after that game number 2. We are working on getting Mitch back from the upside down. Juicebox, it seems that Glaive were able to shave 5 minutes off their personal best, world record setting speed run time here. I mean, how'd they do it?
All right. I actually was trying to find a specific answer to this after the previous game. And I think what it is Jimmy is a highly volatile jungler. Now, that is not always a bad thing, right? That's the sort of situation where if you take really good players, you put a volatile jungle in there, he will run over a game for you, and he'll win a lot of games where you shouldn't win them, and your team is good enough to save a lot of games where he would lose it for them. The problem is he's up against, in my opinion, the far best jungler in the league. And what's happening is that while yes, he can get some stuff going early, he doesn't know how to translate his leads from the early game to the mid and late game. And I think Jimmy is just a little bit too crazy of a jungler, and the whole side of Glaive is abusing that.
Yeah, I mean, we're also seeing the Lilia pick for 5 times in a row now here in playoffs, right, Mitch? I mean, this Lilia pick has just done so much. Even if it's not like getting 5-man sleeps, it's just there was a 60 CS differential at one point between Baby Powder and Jimmy.
Yeah, it's just the nature of the matchup between Lilia and Elise. Elise goes for the very quick clears into an early dive on the top side. We saw him gank top and get the flash, but that whole time Lilia is just farming, counter jungling, getting dragons, putting pressure on the bot in mid lane. And you saw that while the Renekton got ahead, it's just the Lilia is pressuring on the other side, and there's massive CS advantages for the mid laner and the bot laner of Glaive.
Yeah, now heading into potentially the final game of the night, because statistically there's no reason to think it's not going to be. I mean, what do we have to see here from VBO? I mean, I'm looking at their draft sheet and they just aren't listening to themselves, it would seem.
Yeah, it's really hard to know exactly what VBO really needs to change here. I mean, it seems like they're kind of falling apart on all fronts, and that's really sad to me because if anyone heard the interview I had with Prophet earlier, and after some talking to him behind the scenes, this could very well be the only, the last best of 5 that the VBO as this team are going to be able to participate in together. So this is their last chance to, get a win in some sort of situation, and it is completely falling apart. I don't know what they need to do. Mentally, I think they're defeated. Draft-wise, I think they've been defeated, and even just player to player, they are getting defeated. I think you need to troll it. You got to troll it. Troll the last game.
I mean, Mitch, didn't you say they should go Aurelion Sol Lee Sin here in game 3?
Yeah, I did say that in the couch. You can come join us and chat with us. But yeah, Aurelion Sol Lee Sin. I mean, it's this weird combo that VBO likes to do. They did it in the regular season. They caught people off guard with it. It's hyper aggressive, just tons of roaming and tons of early damage. Just play comfort, throw a wild card out there. I think VBO, honestly, they are kind of messing up on things that they normally wouldn't mess up right now, and it's unfortunate to see. But I still have hope. Maybe I shouldn't anymore, but I still have hope in the reigning champions to do something in this series. Maybe they can still take a game off. I think they definitely can. Throw some comfort in there. Just get your CS numbers up and try to play your own game.
It's time to it's time to pull a Bucky's. I'm telling you, it's time to whip out the old Bucky strat.
Now, Juicebox, I don't know if harkening back to a team that got 0 wins in 11 weeks is exactly the play style we want to be bringing into our grand finals here. I'm more leaning towards bring out the Hecarim, right? It's Jimmy's best champion. It doesn't necessarily hard win the early game, which seems to be what they're focusing on, but it brings so much to the team fight. And so instead of having these single pick, junglers in the Graves and the Elise, you can get a team fight going, and that they want to team fight. Like Mitch, they had a pick composition that game, game 2.
Yeah,
they fought it second Drake. Like what is happening?
They fought at second Drake, and in fact, their own Seraphine got picked before the fight even really started. So yeah, they're just failing to really execute on their win conditions. I mean, I think they should just give those dragons to continue to bully the Camille with those pick comps. But they even said in their interviews that they do like to team fight. They're not looking to beat Glaive one-on-one. They're looking to beat Glaive as VBO versus Glaive. So I want to see that happen. I also agree with the Hecarim pick.